So, here we are. I don't know, it's probably about 6 o'clock at night or so on New Year's Day. Most people are off from work, but when you have your own company and you're building a company and you're trying to build, something, you're kind of always working. And if you're not working, it's weird. You kind of feel guilty about it. And even though I have a shop down in Lyndhurst where I could go to and work, I have an office in my house. I like to set up some trays in my living room and work here in front of the TV, which pisses my wife off because it just makes things messy, and she wants to keep like a nice home and a clean home, and I'm more like, hey, I want to make something, or I want to do something. So she doesn't know I'm doing this right now. I'm sure if she comes down, she's watching, I think, a Hallmark movie, so I'm probably good for a good hour and a half or so. But once that movie's over, I'm sure she'll come down, see this, and start telling me why, and questioning me why I'm not doing it in the office, I'm not doing it at the shop, blah, 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 blah. And, I don't know, I get a big kick out of it, how she always yells at me. But tonight, what I'm doing is I want to make some double drop Fluke rigs. And even though I do have these mass manufactured for me, what I do is I try to always make a few hundred of them. And kind of, these are my prototypes, even though I sell them. And then I'll come up with a simple design or a design of some kind, and then I'll send it to my factory and have them actually mass produce them. So that's how it starts. It doesn't really actually start with, me just contacting, the factories, hey, make me some Fluke rigs. It doesn't work that way. The way it works is I come up with a relatively simple, lore. Nothing, new or ingenious in this particular case. Sometimes I think I come up with like these great original ideas, and then sometimes you don't need them because things work. So don't change them if they work. And if you could produce maybe a better quality one where you could sell it and be proud of that, and people, trust your brand, then that's all good. So this here is a double drop rig that I'll be making. You'll see part of this, is in the video. Maybe I can move it out a little bit more. This device here, I'll move this out of the way so you can see. This device here is kind of neat. This is something that Geezer Teaser, Vincent Fallon, he made this. He sells these. You can buy these. And what it does, it allows you to make drop loops. And I'll do a video on that. If people are interested, put a comment below. I'll show you actually how to make the dropper loops. But it makes them, always measured perfectly, always the same size. You don't have to use your hands that much. Like, if you have arthritis or you have bad eyesight, it's affected that way. And it's good when you want to mass produce. Like, I'm not making one. Like, I make hundreds of these. So it goes really quick. And what I first do is I get my, I use Uzori. This is it right here. I use Uzori. On this particular model that I'm making, I am using a 30-pound mono, hybrid mono. I like it because it doesn't have a great memory, so it's not always coiled up and stuff like that. So that's why I use that. And yeah, so I make all my dropper loops first. Then I tie on all my my swivels. Let me see if I get one of these here. Show you. And I get these and buy thousands of them. Here they are here. And let me see where the camera is. Yeah, there it is. So that's my. And I like the ones that are a little boxy than those round ones, like the barrel swivels. I don't know. I'm just not a big barrel swivel guy. I think this just looks like a better product. And I tie these on with a Palomar knot. You know, for me, it's quick and I know it's secure. It's not going to slip. So I go with a Polymer knot down, you know, on my swivels. And so what I do is I make them. And then what I'll, like I mentioned earlier, if I'm happy about a design or it's a little different, I could then send it to my factory. They got the measurements and they know exactly what I want to do. And they'll make me thousands of them, and then I could produce them. I could wholesale them, or I could sell them for really good prices. You know, on the circuit, the show circuit. So I'll do that. So this one here is a double drop loop, and what I'm doing here is I'm putting 8mm glow beads on here, and then I'm using the same 8mm beads, and I'm putting them actually inside the squid head. See that? Probably can't actually see them because they're kind of the same color as that squid head, but they will glow in there and you'll see them. In other videos I mentioned, whenever you're using a glow product, I always like to put lights on them, and you're like, oh, I don't have a flashlight. Well, you know what you have? You probably have lights on your boat, right? So you turn your lights on, you know, your floodlights and stuff like that, and you can just, you know, keep them in front of that for a few moments, and you know you're good to go. But the other reason why I use 2 beads in these, this is a 4-inch skirt, is that I want that hook about 1.5 inches from the end of the skirt, right? And I always use, whenever there's going to be bait, I use a bait holder hook. So you probably, let me see if I get that on camera for you. Yeah, I think you can kind of see that, right? So that's a bait holder hook. It's a little offset. This is for Fluke. They got that crooked mouth, so I always go with something that's a little offset. And yeah, so the reason why I wanted 1.5 inches off the skirt is because when I'm fishing, and I do everything because what I like, and then I think it works, and other people would buy it, right? I'm usually putting a strip of squid belly, not squid, Fluke belly on here, or a strip of squid. I honestly, when I'm running my charters, I'm only running, when I'm fishing for Fluke, it's always Fluke belly. And either I get it from the wholesaler, or the Fluke that we catch throughout the season, I just keep the bellies. And you know, I'm not really, I don't care if it's white or black. I'm not into that pink stuff. Like they sell like dyed Fluke belly. That's all baloney. You know, the Fluke don't hit no pink better. They don't hit, you know, blue, green better. You put white Fluke belly. Some of my charter customers, they think you should have a white and a brown side on. I'm not convinced with that, but what I am convinced of is that if you're confident in something, you would definitely catch more fish if you're confident in something, because you will be paying more attention, you'll give it more attention, you'll work it longer, and you're more likely than not to catch a fish. Even if it's not the most effective way of doing things, you'll catch the fish. And therefore that builds up your confidence even further, and then therefore you're always using 2 Fluke bellies, and you really don't. You probably could just use 1. I use 1, catch plenty of fish. So I'll put a Fluke belly on there. And then because of psychological reasons, I'll also put a spearing or a sand eel. I prefer sand eels. It's a little more work for me. I'm a little more anal about, you know, sand eels, because with sand eels, I like to use a rubber band, and you know, now it's more work, and I rubber band their heads on, so because sand eels fall apart real easy and stuff, so that's why I do that. But that's why we use a bait hold hook. That's why I give it a little leeway, and that's why we put 2 beads up in the heads. This way the hook isn't way up here, and I want the, you know, the hook be set a little further back. So that's that, and I'll show you how I put the next one on. So again, it's preference, it's my design, I get to do it. It's pretty cool, and people have the option to buy it or not. That's okay, that's all cool. You could tell me if you have a different preference. So this is where I just do a basic loop at the bottom for your weight. And then I always put the glow one, the white glow or the kind of green glow, on the bottom. And then on the upper loop, which is here, I use the pink one. Those you're not going to find. All Pro is probably not going to be selling you all these crazy colors. I did it early on, have a bunch of SKUs and stuff like that. Like you could buy Pro teasers, like a million colors. But I've learned I sell most of my stuff on Long Island and the Jersey Shore, or right around Staten Island and northern New Jersey. And the colors, the go-to colors, are basically your glow and your pink. So like, I don't need blue. I don't need orange and purple and these other beautiful looking things. But they hit white, pink, chartreuse, green, yellow, green type of thing. They hit that. So you know what? I'll do that. And so that's what I stick with. So now I got my loop here, and the first thing we want to do is squeeze it a little bit, like this. Get a glow bead, and slide that glow bead on. So all the beads have a hole in them, right? And we just slide it on. And that's one glow bead. If you notice, if I put my arm in front of the light, I get darker and lighter on the screen, but we'll survive. We'll get through that. And I get my another bead. And why am I going with two beads? You know what? It's really just for the look. There's no real purpose of having two beads. Most people will try to save money. They won't put any beads on there because beads do cost money, especially glow beads. But I don't know. I always think of the design first and the money afterwards. And because a lot of times, because I'm making them and it's direct, my factory that I'm associated with, they're making them for me. There's no middleman. So I can keep my prices competitive with other people, even though I have what I feel a better product, or I put more expense into the product, because I'm not paying a middleman. So I could spend that money. So I'll give you a quick idea. So let's say these sell for $5. A retail shop would be buying them for, let's say, between $225 to $250, right? That's kind of what the retail shop would be buying them for. Maybe a better deal, but I'm talking about this quality, okay, with the double beads and stuff like that. Well, I could do that same thing because there is no distributor in between that's taking a piece of the pie. The factory that I'm associated with makes them. I get them. I am the distributor, so I could personally sell them and have a good markup. Or if tackle shops reach out to me, I'll wholesale them. And that's kind of a love lost thing with me, at this stage of the business. On one hand, you want to wholesale, but I don't know if that's more of an ego thing than a smart business thing. I'm still treading that water. It'd be really cool that every tackle shop along the East Coast carries the All Pro, lure and something like that. But the margin is so much smaller for me, literally 50 to 100% smaller for me. I don't have to worry about collecting money. I don't have to worry about delivering, all this bulk product to these places. I don't have to worry about not collecting money, some shops, they just don't pay you and you could call them a million times. So I kind of focus on my own shop, my website at allprotacklebox.com, and a handful of select shops that are just really good quality, high-class shops that they'll give me a call and they'll say, hey, Vince, can we get some of this or can we get some of that? And when I bring it, the money's there, I collect, they get the product, done deal. I'll see you on the next trip. That I'll do, that I'll do. But I've tried it. I had sales reps that went into every single shop knocking on doors. Hey, we got this, we got that, we got this. And you know, it's a lot of effort to do that, and I'm not afraid of working. You can see here it is, New Year's, I'm working, but it's, risk and reward type of thing. It's like I'm going to follow up with a particular shop 1,000 times, got to find the owner. The owner, has to talk to his wife. It's like crazy stuff, and then they'll buy like $100 worth of product, which at a discount where they're making as much, if not more money than me. Um, so again, if it's a real reputable shop and they reach out to me, yeah, I'll wholesale it. I'll wholesale it for a pretty good price because again, there's no distributor. I am it, right? So they'll get it for a pretty good price, and then they could then either market where they're making a really good dollar on it because now they're pricing it competitive with everybody else, or they actually could price it discount, make a good margin on it, and sell more of that product. So it depends upon which shop on their business philosophy, and I don't put like a minimum or maximum price MSRP on them or anything like that. You do what you gotta do, and that goes with my reels, my rods, my rigs, my jigs. Anything we sell, it's like, hey, listen, this is it. Good luck. And I'm not saying I'm not open to make some changes on that as the business grows and stuff. I do have minimum when we wholesale. Like, I'm not going to go and just sell like a tackle shop 5 of these. You're going to have to buy a minimum quantity of them because it's just, I'm not making any margin on it. So it's like, I can't sell you 10. You have to buy more. This way, at least, pays for the postage, so stuff like that. So anyway, we got our 2 beads on here. And now I will, I call thread on, right? Thread on my pink one. And I will grab a glow bead. Here comes my wife. I guess the show's over, so she may be yelling at me. And we'll see if she yells at me being in front of the TV. She's pretty quiet right now. Oh, look. Not yet. She's on a good behavior because she see that I'm being recorded, right? Or we're recording. So anyway, I got my 2 glow beads there. And make sure your tentacles or legs are not in the way, and we pull it down a little bit. Then I'm going to grab my bait holder hook. I like using mustad. They're usually available. I could get a hold of them. Sometimes, they don't make the style hook that I'm looking for, or they're not available. So there's a hook company I believe it's called Ada. Really, really good hooks as well. BKK, fabulous hooks. And the other thing too, let's talk about it. There's only so many of these factories out there, excluding like, Ada and stuff like that. But a lot of these factories are in China and in the Orient over there, South Korea. I know Malaysia. Trying to think of that other, and they make hooks for multiple companies, and so you could kind of buy their own brand hook. The difference in those hooks is that they don't have to stay at certain specs. So, and then there are certain companies that that set up their own factories in China and Vietnam, in Malaysia, and they set up their own. South Korea, they'll set up their own. I think Ada is like made in India, so yeah, they're definitely on their own. I don't know if they have anything that's out in China or anything like that. So you're not getting the specs of let's say a mustad hook or another brand name hook, but you're getting the quality because it's basically the same machinery that's making these hooks, and they're using the same wire, to make these hooks. But they're not the same specs. It may be off a little bit. I've also noticed if you use an off brand, hook, there's more defects in it. So I do believe like companies, the brand name companies, they have a better inspection process where they will inspect the hooks before they're packaged and stuff. While when you're buying off-brand, yeah, the hook is good, it's black nickel and this and that, and they're formed well. Sometimes you'll see the eyelets like all messed up, or I've got many that when I buy an off-brand hook, no, there's no barb on them. It's like weird. It's like catch and release fish hook. So that's something to consider when you're buying rigs. Check out the hooks. Make sure it's a decent quality looking hook, and it's gonna do. Has a thickness wire. This is for Fluke. Fluke fishing. They're not pulling you. You don't using your drag system on them for the most part, unless you're maybe out in Nantucket or something, right? So a nice little hook like this, a bait holder hook, works well, and put it through there, and then we just put the loop like this, and then I'll drop my squid there, pull it through, make sure none of those tentacles are stuck in there, and there that is. It's pretty neat, pretty cool. And that's it. Now, I like this setup. I like the 2 beads. So this is something that I will send to the factory and have them make. What I'll do, though, is so someone can't, immediately replicate it. And I'm probably replicating someone else's. I'm sure this is not like a new invention, right? Like two glow beads. So I'm sure someone else does that. But what I will do is I'll custom make my own hoochie skirts. Okay, and I'll do something with them. Like we'll do some like holographic laser, design on them, make them glow and stuff like that, and maybe change the eye colors. I'll do something and just create that. So that's where the investment comes. But what's nice about the hoochie skirts, I'm not making molds. A lot of things that I do and I change up, I actually have to make the molds. If you see some of our jigs, they'll actually say the word All Pro in it, and that's how you know we made the mold on that we have that mold. So those are different things that you can look out for, when you're dealing with an All Pro product. So this is definitely one that I do like. I will send it out to our factory to reproduce it, to mass produce them, and the only difference is that these are standard hoochie skirts. You could get these, on Amazon, Temu, AliExpress, all those websites you can get these on. So to make it a little different, add a little value, it doesn't really cost me, to be honest with you, any more money. Maybe I have to wait an extra week or two to actually get them produced. We'll design, a different type of, skirt. And this way it'll be like All Pro. Maybe I'll even put an AP on here for All Pro or something like that. But I really can't improve this. This has been tested well over many decades, and they are very effective. This is that 100 centimeter model or the 4-inch model, and they're solid. They're good. They hold up well. So that's what we'll be doing. So that is how I make the rig and how I spend my New Year's Day. I'm watching a Yankee game from I think this is 2000. I think it's 2000. It's the World Series. The Yankees versus the Mets. Maybe more people would know. But that's Al Leiter for sure up there. Yeah. And it's a tie score in the 9th inning. Al Leiter going all the way. There was a terrorist bombing today in Louisiana, New Orleans. And, so I put on the TV. It's every single channel. And listen, once I learned about it early this morning and I know about it, I don't want to give those people any more credit. Oh, wait, my wife's showing us something. Let's get to... Oh, wait. Sorry. She doesn't want me to put that on video. Sorry. Anyway, she's so funny. Like sometimes she can really be funny, you know. But anyway, very good. Captain V, let's get fishing. We'll be hitting the coasts from South Jersey up to Massachusetts in the next 3 weeks, every weekend. Look for our rigs, look for our stuff. He won't be coming. He won't be coming, but he always wants to check things out. He's my my partner in crime. We both have the ability to turn off our ears when we don't want to hear stuff, and I'm excited about that. So, Captain V, let's get fishing.